which, oh, sorry, we're just on YouTube now. Welcome, guys, to Daily Refinement Call. We do this Monday through Friday. Today, I want to talk about what's working for resellers. So as you guys know, I'm having Les do a bunch of different options for reselling, and I don't want to really guide her yet on which model she wants to do. I want to introduce her to all the models and let her decide what works for her, and then I'll optimize that for her. So we've tried Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Poshmark, Mercari. Yesterday was her first Whatnot stream, and our goal was to sell one item. She sold 3 items on her first Whatnot stream, which blows my mind. Essentially, she had to show 100 items in order to sell one, and she can't afford to do dollar starts. So she was doing $5 and $10 starts, depending on what the item was. One item was a $50 start. So you don't have to do dollar starts. And, it's just all about being consistent and making sure that you have all the right things in place. And she had all of her items ready to go. She knew about all of her items. She presented it and worked out great. So now the problem is, what do you pick? So all of the things that she's doing is profitable. The consignment model is profitable. The selling online is profitable. Selling on Facebook Marketplace is profitable. And Whatnot's profitable. So how does she pick? And yesterday, we also did our first crystal show, and I looked at all the inventory and what's available, and there's so many opportunities out there. This morning I was looking at the crystals and rock category on Whatnot, and there was somebody in the chat who did $2,000 in sales with 6 viewers. That's crazy. Can you imagine? Like, as long as you have great stuff, people will hang out with you and buy stuff that you have. If it's great, you're in the rocks category, you have great rocks. I couldn't believe the stuff that she had. It was really good, really, really good stuff. So looking at all different categories right now, I'm breaking reselling down to just 4 things really, which is just sourcing. What kind of stuff are you finding? Processing power. This sourcing also includes your supply chain, and then your schedule, and then how do things rank. So I'm gonna do my first live workshop on the 27th of July. It's gonna be free. I'll put it in the chat. 27th of July. I'm going to record it for people who can't come. So essentially, I want to give 4 classes. How items rank on eBay, whatever, any platform. Sourcing strategies. Schedule. And let's see, how things rank. Sourcing, schedule. One more thing that I forgot for the moment. I want to give 4 classes. Then it's going to be a Saturday. The reason I really want to do it on a Friday, but I'm really worried that people with a job won't come, and people with a job are the best resellers by far. So I just worry. eBay Open is during the week, and a lot of bigger sellers don't go because they can't. You can't take off a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You just take off too much of your income is gone if you're gone for 3 days. So I'm going to do it on a Saturday and then get some feedback from people. And if it's worth it for someone to come here on a Friday, I'd rather do Friday, but I need to get some feedback. I want to do 15 people in person. So the goal is show up, coffee, donuts, then give these 4 classes Q&A. Then I want to carpool to wherever we're sourcing, whether it be a thrift store, whether it be a sample shop, whether it's a showroom. I think every single month I'm going to go somewhere different for sourcing. That way people at home, most people are going to watch it on Zoom. They'll be able to see different kinds of sourcing and how I would approach it. And then that'll be something I really enjoy. Once a month, meet up with people, go sourcing together. I want them to carpool to the event together in a car and then carpool back with somebody else. That way everybody meets everybody. I found that networking, you can go to an event and meet somebody, but majority of people do not meet everyone. The hosts meet everybody, but like I just want to ensure everyone that comes meets everybody, networks with everybody, tries everything, and then afterwards, there's so many cool restaurants and places in the Bay Area, and if people want to stay for the rest of the weekend and make a vacation out of it, they can. That's what I was wondering about. Like, I don't really care that much about the hanging out part. I might just leave after the event, but if people want to hang out and network, that's totally cool. Okay, anyway, in person, I feel like it's a lot different. So that's where I want to make this work. I'm a big fan of Marie Kondo. And if you guys ever watch her TV show on Netflix, she doesn't transform people's houses. She gives them the instructions and then she leaves. And I like that. The people who have a big messy house have to clean up their own mess. And it's more likely that they actually stay that way. So what I did with love is we went to the Goodwill bins. I looked around. We figured out our strategy. We left. We came back the next day with a plan. We did the plan together. Then now I don't need to go with her anymore. She's just gonna do it kind of how we decided to do it together, right? And then photos, we set up a process. She's gonna photograph that way. And I have something that's super duper duper profound right now. So if you are at home, write this down. If you're not home, just remember this. Okay. I've never heard this more eloquently stated. When you say yes as a reseller, you're generally spending money. And when you say no, you're generally making money. So as a reseller, 99.99% of the time, you say no. Not going to sell that. Not my process. Not my lane. Not going to do that. And I think that that's where people go wrong because what you're doing when you're saying no is you're not saying no, I don't want to try all these things that are cool or fun or profitable. What you're saying is yes, I want to be successful at what I have chosen. This is the part that is hard because for Les right now, she's in experiment mode. She's in everything mode. She's testing. She's looking at everything. When you settle on a model, then every time you say yes to something else, you're saying no to whatever you wanted to do. Like if Catherine is happy with her husband, she doesn't need to go on a date every weekend with somebody else. That doesn't make sense. It's the opposite of what she already decided to do one thing. But that's what you're doing when you pick up a different category, right? So yesterday I was kind of triggered because someone was like, "Oh, looks like Chris is an everything seller again." And this is the mentality where people have no context. They don't understand. Like, I'm not gonna go to the bins. I'm not gonna go to consignment shops. Doesn't mean I can't go look. Doesn't mean I can't look at what's working in their business and apply it into my business. You need as much information as possible, and then you apply it to one thing that you're doing. Because everything you can let, like this lady this morning, her username is crazy cool rocks. Okay. She has no following, no audience, no social media. 6 people in her chat. She did $1,000 in sales, a couple $1,000 in sales. She sold a rock for $188 today. And she sold a ton of people bundles. People were like, hey, I want this rock, that rock, and this rock. How much is it? And she had a price for them. And she's like, thank you guys. I really needed this money. And people were like, no, thank you for having crazy cool rocks. Good job. And I was like, I didn't see any of those rocks yesterday at the rock person. So I don't know where she got those. She found some amazing, rare, cool pieces that people would spend up for. So it is inspiring to me right now thinking about all these different markets. The biggest opportunity on Whatnot, I think, is the estate sale flea market. The traditional eBay seller has the largest opportunity on eBay or on Whatnot because um, when you find a cool auction find, if Catherine found I'm picking on her this morning, if Catherine found a really cool lamp, right? That's honestly pretty hard to sell on eBay. But on a live stream, it's not. A lot of people are like, oh, that is a cool lamp. And if she's like, how about $8 plus shipping for it? That's not unreasonable. And that lamp at Goodwill's probably under $5. That's not bad for an instant flip, and it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of blown away at how many different ways there are to make money. The Facebook Marketplace, um, Les had 20 messages on a single item she posted on Facebook Marketplace. How many people listening right now have had 20 messages on one item on eBay ever? Right? And that was a lot of baby clothes from 6 months to 24 months. And she just posted it online. 20 moms were willing to drive. Somebody drove 30 minutes to pick up the baby clothing. Baby clothing is expensive, but that's where that market is. The lady looking for a lot of clothing is not going on eBay. Plus, it's like pretty common that it's not really worth it for you to list um, online for a baby item to get $3 or $4. But on Facebook Marketplace, you're just taking a couple pictures, title, come pick it up. But, and people were saying, okay, another thing that is interesting. Yesterday, Les had to carry around all these bags for consignment, 6 IKEA bags. So for those of you referencing that, that's probably 30 pounds of bags, right? It's 180 pounds worth of bags. It's kind of a lot. And she was saying she didn't really want to do that. And people in the chat were saying, oh, she's not going to make it. She's already complaining. And I'm like, kind of, but like what I see that as some form of opportunity. I think actually, if you walk into a consignment shop with 6 bags of stuff, they're gonna give you the side eye and not really want to help you because that's so much stuff. You could just bring in 50 to 100 pieces in 1 or 2 IKEA bags that are exactly what they're looking for. And you probably would do better because you've done your homework. You're not making them look through 6 bags. You're just bringing them the stuff that you think they're going to buy. Yesterday's podcast, we talked about she found different stores wanted men's, different stores wanted women's, different stores wanted um, Western, different clothes stores wanted cold. I was surprised that, I mean, this is obvious, but in San Francisco and Pacifica, it's cold. So they're looking for hoodies and coats. Here where I live, it's hot. It's hot for me. It's 80 degrees. They're only picking up summer. If you drive a couple of hours south and you're like in Bakersfield, California, it's 118. I don't know what they're selling at their consignment shops. Probably swamp coolers. That is freaking hot. 118. I don't get how people live in places that are that hot. That's insanely hot. 118. It's like that all the time. And in Sacramento, which is the other side, north of here, it was 110 all week. AC, oh yeah, autumn AC. That's right. That's how you live there. It's AC. Devin.
So we have the Plato's Closet here, but everything it seems else you mentioned just in California or West Coast, like the Crossroads and that other place I can't think where you were talking about. So are there what's other national chains that I might find, or what should I look up for?
I think Buffalo's exchange is nationwide. It's at least all the way in Colorado. I don't know how far east it goes, but they have 36 locations. I found it pretty wild that that company does $100 million a year. They just sell used clothing to teenagers and college students and do $100 million a year. That is incredible. And I looked up the founders. They don't exist. They're ghosts. Not one post online, no interviews, nothing. So people are like complaining about, oh, I don't have a social media. I can't sell without YouTube. Yes, you can. There's not one thing about the people who founded that company on the internet. None. They're completely anonymous. I was shocked. Their names are on the website, but if you look up their names, they don't exist. It's crazy. So anyway, the other chains are like Clothes Mentor. There's not that here, but it's like an East Coast thing. But you guys maybe can
Yeah,
put.
I think just something like American Eagle. I mean, I could probably easily make $200+ a week just on the stuff I find in my bins
Yep.
and at the on the dollar pile of the flea market.
Yep. And I think that something that Les noticed yesterday. She said, I'm so glad that we're doing this experiment because I realized I don't have to sell more than just clothing. At the Goodwill bins, there's so many options. There's books. She's like, I was kind of afraid I had to learn all those categories, but I don't have to. I could just do one category and then sort of optimize where it goes. If you sell books, like I don't know if that guy is legit or not, but the guy that buys truckloads of books and sorts them into Ryan Murphy or something, sorts them into sets. He recycles some of the paper. Some of them are donated to schools. Some of them go on Amazon. Rarer ones go on eBay. Like, does that work? I feel like it does work. He said in one of his videos that he makes a good chunk of his profit from recycling books just for the paper. And I was like, wow, that is that's cool. You know, you can get something for the paper and it ends up being something that's worth it. But yeah, Devin,
So,
that model is interesting.
so Chris,
Uh,
you said that
but Chris,
on your model that selling a lamp would be really good on Whatnot, and there's a lot of things you could sell on Whatnot that wouldn't be good on eBay. What do you think is still really strong on eBay? Do you still think clothes are strong on eBay? Do you still think that what do you think about that?
I
What's
think
eBay's
eBay's
strength?
30 to 90-year-old women who like cats, 18 to 24-year-old men, and then guys who wear Tommy Bahama. That's like who I see shopping on eBay. It's definitely older. It's 30 to 90. And then 18 to 24, heavy, heavy male. Very, very male, 18 to 24. And then it's like it jumps from like vintage guy to like old guy.
And then would Poshmark be like more of a woman's market then?
Poshmark is more of a women's market, definitely trending older. I would be surprised if the average Poshmark shopper is under 40. It's much older. It's a lot of people dressing younger. In my opinion, it's a lot of people dressing younger. Depop, I think it's younger people shopping for themselves. It's so different. Like if you go to a Posh and Sip, who here has been to a Posh and Sip or a Poshmark event? Everyone's over 40. It's not a young person thing. Poshmark is older.
Do you think the demographic for young people shopping is Whatnot? Because Whatnot seems a lot older as well.
No, it's
Everybody
not.
here talks about going to Whatnot.
Whatnot, the demographic is the same as eBay. It's
And
40 and
where's
over.
the young demographic? Is that TikTok selling?
The younger demographic is Depop.
Depop,
Um, and for fashion, it's disposable clothing. It's not
right?
it's
Shein,
disposable or thrifting.
right?
So a
Right.
younger person wants to go to Goodwill bins or Goodwill or Salvation Army on half off day and find something cool to wear.
This is
Like
like the damn group that are in their 20s. This is what they do. Yeah. They Shein or thrifted.
Shein or thrifted, and they like the vibe of a used clothing shop. Like the
They, yeah, the bins are trending.
yeah, but like a 26-year-old lady or like a 22-year-old college girl, when she goes to Crossroads or Plato's Closet or Buffalo Exchange or Clothes Mentor and she sees a nice used piece for about $25, she's not going to go on eBay and buy it. She's just going to buy it there.
Right.
No
You
shipping
wouldn't
cost.
try to maybe get a better deal or shop
No,
around. That
not
wouldn't
for
be
that price. Not for that price point. The
right.
over $30, yes, they're going to try to
Yes.
find a better deal. In person,
Yeah,
no,
they would be like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait. I need to spend money on something else, or I'm gonna
and they're
find."
going to try it on,
Yeah,
right? You can't really try it on
yeah, yeah.
online. So the demographic is interesting. It's definitely older. So for Whatnot and eBay have the same demographic. That's one of the weirdest things ever, in my opinion. Devin?
Do you think okay, most of these tech companies, when somebody else that's their competitor starts doing something, making an improvement, they will usually double down, like say, like Facebook, Uber. Anytime that somebody fixes a problem that they have, they either buy that company or they do their own version of it and just double down on it. Do you
Yeah.
think that? I guess because I know there's eBay Live, why have they not just promoted the hell of that, or got these influencers involved or whatever, to either knock down Whatnot or just buy them out altogether? Because it just seems like to me they're really losing this race right now.
For eBay?
I think they are.
Oh,
I
so
mean, I don't never hear anybody talk about you going to eBay Live.
eBay has aged out. All the people who started eBay, all the innovators, they're all gone. They're all like 70 now. They're not doing anything anymore, or maybe not that old, but at least 60 people who started eBay, they're no longer there. The people that are at eBay right now are just cashing in on this profit cow. No innovations, no improvements, nothing. Just increased fees, same service. They haven't done anything on eBay, really. It's the same as before. They just keep increasing the fees, provide the exact same thing. And everyone is like stuck, and that's why like all these new companies have popped up, Devin. There's like sites that charge 10% fees or no fee. Mercari's made up no fees process that still is fees because your customer pays them. Um, all of this is just the state of it. There's no reason for eBay to buy whatnot because they don't need that. They print money. They make millions of dollars probably a day just on listings that don't sell. They don't even want you to sell your items. Just leave all your items on eBay. If you don't know, either you know what you're doing and you post it and it'll help you sell. So this is also cool. Catherine said that eBay fashion is actually millennials on eBay. It is, but it is the brand new stuff for under $20 that's selling on eBay in the clothing category. The heavy hitters are here, I'll show you. I'll show you.
So it's kind of like the eBay's doing the subscription style, to where that they nickel and dime you, like those you're paying $30 a month for whatever service, and you forget about it, and until you realize you spent 200-300 bucks a year on it, except for they're
Yesterday,
getting it from
somebody
their
showed me a
sellers versus their
store.
buyers.
Yesterday, somebody showed me a store with 9,000 listings. They sold between 1 and 10 items a day, right? They're paying $360 a month or something for their subscription for eBay. And they're only making $300 profit a month. And 360 of it goes to eBay for their listing fees, right? 9,000 items takes years to list. They've been listing items that don't sell for 8 years, right? And eBay doesn't say, warning, this item is probably not going to sell the way that you did it. Are you sure? Are you sure you want to post this and store it for the next 5 years? They don't say that. They say insertion fees will be calculated at the end of the month. You know what I mean? They're like, it's it. Let's look up eBay. I want to show you guys the fashion. Let's see. Okay, let's look. Can you guys see? Okay, I'm gonna type in sweater. Wow, look at this. Look how many more people search for men's sweater than women's sweater. 10 times more people are looking for a men's sweater than a women's sweater. That's interesting. Okay, so if I type in sweater, what's gonna pop up is all this $12.99 free shipping, free returns. This kind of fashion trends on eBay for sure. It goes crazy. People might buy a lot of them. This is like they sold 22 of them already. Right? Well, this is the kind of fashion that our younger people are into. It's affordable. You can wear it a couple times. Right?
Is that from the US?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is from multiple locations in the United States. 350,000 items, sold a lot. 350,000 feedback, rather. Right? You don't even see pre-owned until 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh yeah, this one is this pre-owned sweater, pure Jill. And then down here, there's a pre-owned, a few pre-owned, but still lots and lots and lots of like this one. Charter Club, let's go. $18.99 free shipping. Oh, not free, actually, not even free shipping. Nice work. $5.99 for first class shipping. Chester, Virginia. 100 or 334 sold. My goodness. Raw special here. Everyday value. That's what it is. But tell me, is there a young person buying this? I don't think so. Who wears a Charter Club women's knit button front cardigan? Yeah, 35-year-old mom, Becky says. It's interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on. But uh, the yes, when come and also Devin, Facebook Live is pretty big. It's pretty big. Like the lady's warehouse that I visited, she has a multi-million-dollar business, all Facebook Live.
You mean Facebook Live or eBay Live?
Facebook Live. eBay Live is not a thing. They have eBay Live, but it's not a priority for them. They have it, but it's not something that they're pursuing.
I haven't seen eBay Facebook Live in a long time, but I guess that's just me.
Facebook Live is huge. It's a lot of it is like definitely international. Facebook Live is much bigger, but here it's still big. It's just like the I this is before my generation, but the Tupperware Club where you like go to somebody's house and buy Tupperware, that still exists on Facebook Live a lot. Big time, huge.
Is that where I'm seeing these people overseas dig out these pearls out of these giant clams, like over and
No,
over?
that's more like that's where live streaming is in China. You can actually like watch a fish tank and Melanie could be like, I want that lobster, and they'll get it and mail to you. Like that or
Yeah, that's
pearl.
what they're doing. They're just digging these giant
Amazing.
clams and just pulling these pearls out.
Yeah, that's what the founder of Whatnot wants cars on Whatnot, and he wants experience on Whatnot. He wants to like you put on goggles and Jamie is on the beach and he's like, "Do you want this shell?" Yep, click right here, $4.99, and you get to buy it. Like he wants that experience-based stuff on Whatnot, that and cars, and there's a couple other categories that he really wants. But in Asia, the experience-based buying is massive. It's huge.
Hey, Chris, what
Yes, sir.
extension what extension are you using that shows those numbers on eBay search bar?
Keywords everywhere.
All right, cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. And it's been really enlightening because there's lots of things that are heavy search, but no one talks about. And that's probably something that you should sell in.
So Chris, you mentioned that your protege was looking at, or she had some baby clothes that people were really interested in.
Mhm.
So if you search baby clothes or baby clothes lot on eBay, there's a lot of those. And I mean, what do you think it would cost if you went to the bins and got, like I'm looking at a lot of girls' clothes, Justice, Old Navy, basic brands, size 10 to 12. It doesn't even say how many pieces are in this lot, but it sold for $100. It's $16 in shipping. So
Wow.
if you went to the bins, that's
Mhm.
really high shipping. But if you went to the bins, what would it cost to get, it doesn't tell you how many pieces there are. It just says good used condition, last pick, shows flaws.
I mean, this is about right. Like this is as an example on eBay. Um, doesn't oh, it does say it.
So there's 33 pieces in this lot of girl size 10 to 12. So if you went to the bins and got 33 pieces of kids clothing,
Yep,
about what would that cost, do you think?
$5 at the most. I wouldn't do it. The only reason that I would get baby's clothing is if it was free. So like the only reason Les picked it up is because she bought a pallet of clothes and there was a whole bunch of baby clothes at the bottom of it. She put it in a bag. She took one picture, put it on Facebook Marketplace, didn't describe anything. They came and picked it up. So like, I don't think I would pay for it. And of course, that is, I'm not going to tell her what to do, but I would not advise her to start a baby clothes business.
Yeah.
Yeah, she bought one at the bins.
So she's trying to eliminate now categories, decide on her niche.
Right now, I'm not going to eliminate any categories for her because I want her to see what she likes. But this is the Marie Kondo way because she's like, Catherine, how do you want your kitchen to look? And then they're like, oh, I don't want all this clutter. And she's like, okay, cool. I'll see you on Monday.
Get
And
rid of
then
it.
she doesn't do anything. She makes them do it. And I was like, that is how you teach somebody to keep their kitchen clean. It's not like in on TLC, snap your fingers, new kitchen.
Right.
That's what kind of thing what people are trying, they want that on their eBay store, but that's not really,
It's like, Catherine, how do you want your day to look? Oh, you
yeah.
don't want to work in the late afternoon or evening?
Yeah.
Okay. See you on Monday. Redo
So
your
I figured out how much work you should do.
how much?
Ready? Because
Yeah.
a lot of people were asking me that yesterday. So, okay, you should do the maximum you can for half your workday. That's what my opinion.
I love that
Half,
idea.
half of however long you want to work, right?
Hmm.
Work as hard as you can and get the most out of it. Okay, if the other half of the time you want to kind of just relax, go for it. But so Origin, um, she told me one of the biggest hacks that I gave her was laundry right after the bins. So she washed the baby, or I'm sorry, the baby clothes she did not wash. She was like, I don't want to spend money on laundry. So she just took a picture in the ad. It said, these are not washed. You will need to wash them. But
Cool.
she
Chris,
just took home in a
Chris,
bag.
why
Yeah.
did she buy a pallet of clothing, but then not wash the like? If she had the money to buy the pallet, how did she not have the money to wash the clothes
She did. She had the money to wash the clothes. She just didn't wash the baby clothes. She wanted to see if it would sell on Facebook Marketplace
without washing them first?
without washing it.
But but her reasoning for it was because she didn't have the money for it. She didn't want to
No,
spend
no, no,
money
no.
on it.
She didn't want to spend money on something she's putting on Facebook Marketplace for that low price. It was only $10 for the pile.
That's gross though.
And that's also too cheap, in my opinion. Like she should have put the lot at $15 to $20. She still would have had 20 messages for it. But you should be clear. Don't say you need to say these are unwashed if you're going to do that. Also, between 6 and 24, those clothing, they're not worn that much. They could be dirty though. That's fair. It's not that she
I
didn't
just
have the money to wash them. She just decided not to.
I was just confused since they're in a pallet and like I see a lot of pallets often and usually they're a little bit dirtier. So I was confused at why she wouldn't wash them, but I get it.
That's a good point, Isaiah. I could next time I will have her. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I don't know what to recommend on that. It's not in her category. She's like, I'm just gonna take it home and see if somebody will buy it on Facebook Marketplace. She did that without me telling her to do that, and it worked. And now I don't know. Like, is that something that you have this policy where if it's something you resell online or in person, like a consignment shop, you wash it. But if you put it on Facebook Marketplace as a lot, you don't. I don't know. It's also
Yeah,
like, go ahead.
what
I think it's pretty different on Facebook Marketplace though, because I've bought two large like garbage bags full of random clothes for
Yeah.
$20, and I wasn't surprised when I found like hair or lint or dust or what, and then I just washed it all and I took some to consignment. My daughter kept some, and then I donated the rest.
Maybe the expectation is different.
I think it is different on Facebook.
Also, my wife is a new mom, and she says that she is on Facebook Marketplace, and all of her friends are also looking for things. Like sometimes yeah, I think this is true too. Harry's saying $10 is not worth the effort to make the ad and meet the people. I agree with that. It's kind of the situation where like at the very beginning, right now, she's spending $400 a week at the bins on new inventory, and the consignment is making around 600 a week. So she's already in the positive with just the consignment part. And now that the rest of it is, can she turn the banger pieces into a much higher amount online? Yesterday she was having a little conundrum, which was, is my goal for the consignment just so I get every single item for free? Because that would mean, like, if I go to the bins and I pick up for $400, her goal is $200. I'm sorry, 200 items. Spend $400, get 200 items, $2 cost of goods. Is her goal to just break even on the $400 investment and the rest of it goes online? Or she was like yesterday, she was like, I kind of, maybe I don't sell online. Maybe I just do the in person only. I sell to the bins, the people who are there, the people at the shops, and then I just my job is just bins, laundry, and I don't have any other. There isn't any more selling at all. Origin.
Yeah, so I'm emulating your apprentice. So
Mhm.
but I didn't know that she was buying a pallet, because that changes everything. Because when you buy a pallet, you kind of you're given the parameters. And then you have to like adjust your method according to whatever you got in the pallet.
Yeah.
So when I was at the bins, I was like, oh, should I be buying stuff that I know will sell at Plato's, or
Yep.
should I be buying stuff that I know will sell at, because then I found because I've trained myself to
Yep.
buy stuff that's like higher ASP,
Right.
better. So I found myself like second guessing, like, wait a minute, should I have like a little pile of stuff that I can make quick cash? So that's very interesting that she's doing a whole pallet. I haven't tested that yet because it
So
seemed like almost too much to manage, but I'm interested about your thoughts on that.
so it's a good, I'm really glad that you brought that up because I've it's taught her to think on her feet because numerous people in the group and in the old group, like easily 50 people shop at the Millbrae bins in San Francisco. A huge, there's somebody listening right now that shops at the Goodwill bins in Millbrae. It's like actually they moved it to South San Francisco. The San Francisco bins and the one in Sonoma in Marin County north of me, both of those are like the mecca apparently of Goodwill bins. They have all of the good stuff, right? So those Goodwill bins sell by the pallet and they sell in the blue bins. And they also have a boutique where it's the Goodwill bins, but it's also a thrift store. You guys, I don't know if you guys have that where you are. Some Goodwill bins also have an adjoining thrift store. So they have a thrift store and the bins and the bulk and the rag house stuff that goes at the very end. There's all different kinds of things, right? So this is interesting. She's already found out that different places sell pallets, different places don't. Some days they're cheaper, some days they're not. Like she's been asking the workers what's worth it, what's not. And pallets are available sometimes, sometimes they're not available. Prices are different. You kind of have to evaluate it. So our goal origin is $2 cost of goods.
Right.
So ideally, if she's buying a pallet, let's say it's $100, she needs to get 50 pieces from it. So there's a good amount of pressure. So what happened is sometimes she's like, hey, there's all this stuff that I essentially get for free because I already paid for it. Is that something I want to take home and try? Because right now, I told her you have more money than time. I'm sorry, more time than money. So for her, if she's not doing anything, maybe listing it on Facebook Marketplace to get $10 for a bunch of baby clothes, that's worth it for her. For Harry, it's not worth it because he could use that time and make $40.
Right. So 50 pieces that can go on eBay. Is that the goal?
So that's a good question. Um,
Or
50
whatever the online platform. Maybe I should qualify it.
So our qualifier is, and I wrote this down as a rule for myself, she has to at least double her money plus $1.
Oh, okay. For
Okay.
50 items.
For any item.
Oh, okay.
She's not buying any items if she doesn't at least double her money plus $1. That's one of the only rules I have. So, as an example, so what is the profit margin minimum for $2 then?
Wait, say that again. Sorry, I was looking at the chat.
What is the profit minimum if she's buying something for $2 then?
Oh, well, 4.
Well, she would need
The
to make it,
profit.
Yeah, so she's buying something like the minimum profit really is $5 because what I want
Oh,
her to
five.
do,
Okay, right. To cover your costs and then want to make a profit.
yeah. So
Right.
it's well, to cover your costs and get another item.
Okay.
So even right now, even though she's just started, she has a tiny stack of money,
Right.
like $100 right now, right? But it's gonna grow because she has this rule where she has to double her money plus a little bit. So her stack of stuff is gonna grow. Now is really where the issue comes, where she's like thinking to herself, okay, I am gonna eventually run out of space at this pace, right? So that's why it's like, should she be sourcing for Plato's Closet because that can be sold today, right?
Yeah.
Or she's sourcing for online 5x her money 6 months down the road.
Yeah. So I've been thinking, I've been thinking about your rock idea yesterday, or your crystals. I used to be a professional chef, and I kind of flipped the whole model mentally from, because I think that there are a lot of parallels where we used to, when you work in higher end restaurants, you're dealing with, I think that there could be an analogy in the culinary world with reselling, because I was thinking about the vintage items that I sell, or that I love to pick up. They're so beautiful, but it's a very specific customer that wants that vintage item. And it reminds me of these foragers that would go up in the mountains and get all these morels and come into the chef personally with the box of morel mushrooms. And those were going for $40 a pound.
Yep.
And you have to find that chef. You cannot bring that case to a pizza place that orders all its stuff from Shamrock, wholesale. So reselling reminds me of, like, you get your stuff and then you find the customer. You go out and find the customer. And maybe that seems obvious to everybody else, but that mentality is a little different. And I think for Les, she's kind of doing that. Like, she's getting the palette and then she's like, okay, where do I find my buyer? And she's sorting it all out.
So
And
Carrie's
sorry.
making a good point right now, which is, aren't we advising people who just start not to buy bulk? Now, here's the thing that's a little bit crazy. I actually feel like in the first week, Les went from beginner to intermediate in brands because she probably spent 35 hours already in the store shopping. She already knows what brands to buy. I would consider her like, um, she has the knowledge of the brands I'm telling her to pick up, right? Plus our zip code call, right? Plus, um, so okay, everything that I'm telling her, the zip code call of all the brands that are local that are easy to find, and also the consignment shop, and also she's 24. Okay, so she knows stuff that I have no idea. Okay, so this is mind blowing to me. She bought a t-shirt that said, am I'm the number one dad. Okay. I thought it was so dumb. I'm like, there's no way. Why did you buy this shirt? She's like, Plato's Closet will buy it. I am the number one dad, right? Why would Plato's Closet buy it? But she was right. They did. They paid her $4 for that because it's on trend. That is on trend. A teenage guy, the dad look is in. That's hilarious to me. It's not a dad buying that shirt, but she knows that plus the like quote unquote older brands plus the local consignment shop. So here's the thing, Origin. This is something even crazier. So let's say you're a morel mushroom hunter, right? You go, you buy a bunch of mushrooms and then you go from high-end restaurant to high-end restaurant looking for the chef. You could actually go to the high-end chefs first and say, I'm a morel mushroom hunter. Would like if I find some, can you agree to a price? Like I'll even give you a better deal if you guarantee that you'll buy 2 pounds from me and I'll go out this weekend. Then it's like you already have your buyer lined up.
Yeah, exactly. And those are you could say that those are the people that are your bread and butter customers, like in the
Yes.
resale world. Like those guys, you know, you're going to have some buyers for those items. And then
Yes.
after you, and those guys also will demand a lower price because you've built a relationship with them.
100%.
So once you,
price.
yeah, so once
Yeah.
you establish, okay, I got these 3 chefs, but I have a leftover 5 pounds I've got to get rid of right away because they're perishable. That's where you get creative and you just hustle, hustle, hustle and try to get rid of it. That's sort of the Facebook where she's like, I need to get my money back out of this right now. Let's throw it up on Facebook. And she doesn't care too much because she's already made her money back from the other guys with whom she's made the relationship. So
this
anyway,
is
just a light bulb moment with something from my past. I'm like, oh, I finally get it. It flipped the whole thing because I'm like trudging through this other concept of, okay, I have to list, I have to list, I have to list. But if you flip it, for me, this was helpful to say, let's focus all of our energy on buying and then find the buyers. It just changed it for me. I don't know if maybe it's obvious to everybody already, but to me, it helped.
I planned her schedule based on this origin. So as an example, she shops at the Goodwill outlet Wednesdays and Fridays. Okay. So for you guys listening at home, don't go on those days because she's going. Okay. So Wednesday and Friday she goes. She goes to consignment shop on Thursday and Monday. That is on purpose. Okay. So on Wednesday, today, she's already there. She's gonna be there. They open at 7. I told her she has to be early. So she's there. She's doing the she's gonna look all day. It doesn't matter to me if she does pallets or she does individual because it's the same thing. She's not taking the whole pallet home. She's just cherry picking what is good. She's gonna go straight to laundry. Then tomorrow she's gonna hit her consignment route. And in like maybe like I would say a month, she'll be breaking even on the purchase from the day before, the following day. So like 200 negative Wednesday, Thursday positive. How much is the question? She's like, should I just be breaking even and then the rest of it's free? And now I can list it on eBay and I can literally accept any offer because it's free. Or do I try to make some more profit and just have a really small store? And then it's also tempting because the bangers, even the consignment shop will give you $10 for it. So do you want $10 tomorrow or do you want $20 or $30 and wait? Now it's like even more of a conundrum. So let's just say the pallet is $100. If you get 5 pieces, your cost of goods is $20. That's really high, right? So for a beginner, if you don't know what you're doing, you would not do that because how do you know which pieces are worth that much? You don't know yet. If you already know though, especially if you've dug through so many, I think it's cheaper, but it depends. Like the expensive part would be if you have to get a truck, rent it, take it home. That doesn't work. But luckily, Les has a really small car. I'm not going to tell you what car she has, so I don't want people following her. But she has a really small car. Does not fit very much stuff. It's not. Catherine probably takes an SUV full. She does not. She has a tiny car, so it doesn't fit that much stuff.
So just 2 kind of specific questions. How does she deal with stains? Because when you shop from the bins, you always have stains. And how is she dealing with inventory? Like, does she, I suppose this will emerge over the next couple of weeks, but stains require like 2 or 3 days you have to deal with the stain. You have to soak it and all of that. Does she have like a little pile of like project items that she's like holding for a couple of days, or
So
maybe those items get listed, or how
right now
does she store everything?
She has an OxyClean bucket.
Yeah.
And it just goes into there until the following laundry day.
Okay, easy.
That's it. So, good question.
And then the inventory model, like, does she have shelves stacked up in your warehouse?
She has 1 rolling rack.
And will that be the limit, or will she eventually have enough for 2,000 pieces?
She hasn't decided yet because yesterday she sold 3 of the items on the rack. There's probably 100 items in the rack, and then, or not 100, maybe like 50 items on the rack, and the rest of it's in her trunk because she's driving it from consignment shop to consignment shop. And so far, I don't think that the model is sustainable. I'm glad you're asking these questions because She doesn't have enough space. So I don't think she would be able to buy bulk very often because she's most likely going to have to be just cherry picking what sells in the very beginning. She got spoiled because she sold her own clothes for $195, and then we went to the bins, and then that, like, the amount that like, that was a really good head start with a $2 cost of goods. $195 is 100 items already. So she will eventually run out of space. That's why she was wondering, what about no online? And just yesterday, I don't know if Autumn ever, or if other people like Autumn or Lauren, they specialize in the higher end consignment shops, because Plato's Closet, Buffalo Exchange, is Devin still here? These are the low end consignment shops. There are higher
I'm
end
here.
consignment shops. Yeah, Devin, this is like the lowest part. The higher part is like there's fancier consignment shops that sell to older women. Those ones are much, much more profitable, but they're very, very picky.
Yeah. When I last said something, I looked up here. So I do have Clothes Mentor, Uptown Cheapskate, and Plato's
Yep.
Closet here.
Yep. I don't know if I've gone to an Uptown Cheapskate before. I've seen that store. I've never gone inside. Tomorrow morning there is a call. I'm gonna set my alarm right now. It's an hour before this call. It's the same format every week where we just update the accountability, solds, active, one thing you want to work on for the week. But I'm thinking, I don't know Origin the answer to that question. If she should just be trying to break even, and then she all of her items on eBay, Poshmark, and Depop sell for a profit, and she already came to her own conclusion that cross listing doesn't make sense. She's like, I'd rather just list the good, like the older items on eBay, and then the younger items on Depop. She doesn't want to. She didn't like delisting the items. Even with software, she was like not as interested in that. She's like, I could just use this time and list other items. So
Chris, what do you define as an intermediate seller?
you know some of the brands you need to buy, you understand sell-through rate, and let's see, intermediate seller, understand sell-through rate, understand what brands are available in your area, understand condition, because that's something Origin had mentioned earlier. I told her that if it's stained, she has to leave it there. Like, if it looks like she cannot get the stain out, then leave it there. Because if you're going to gamble and leave it in OxyClean and hope that that actually removes the stain, if it doesn't, your cost of goods goes up. So she just needs to know that.
So why would she be buying a pallet then if she's not supposed to be picking up items that are stained?
That's exactly what Carrie asked, because she's advanced enough to cherry pick.
So you're saying that over the course of a week, she's gotten so much skill that she can successfully cherry pick items and not make a mistake with stains, holes, rips, tears, etc. after a week of doing this?
Not make a mistake, but because I still make mistakes, but she is without a doubt can buy bulk without losing money.
After a week, though, like, that's a lot of skill. Like,
100%.
why is she?
The first time that we went, I'm not going to tell you all the details, but her average cost of goods was under $2 the very first try that we did bulk. And the lady even said this is not even that good. It's because she knows what she likes to wear, plus the brands I told her, plus the zip code call that we did. For sure, 100%. After this is the part that's kind of sad, because like after 1 week, she knows more than most resellers who've been doing this for years. Just from the zip code call and writing down the brand, she found hundreds of brands she's never even heard of.
But
So,
like, finding brands research wise versus going into the thrifts and actually being able to pull those brands are different things.
yeah, but I mean, like, I don't think it's that hard. I think, let me try to think here. If you had absolutely it's kind of a cheat code that she's into fashion and likes it, but she didn't know the value of items, Isaiah, which is interesting. She knew what's cute, what's trending for her and her style, maybe older, but like she did not know what the items are worth until we started doing homework. But when we met those two 18-year-old kids, I think it inspired her. Same as me, because she learned a lot about what to buy, what not to buy. And also like she's giving, in my opinion, more than a full-time effort. Even though she only works for me for 30 hours, I think she's working way more than that. She's I don't know. I think after 1 week you could get 10 pieces out of a pallet.
But 10 pieces isn't $2 buy cost if you spend $100.
Icons, but that's a good point.
Because like that would be like me saying I can go listen to one of Carrie's calls, and then go buy a jewelry
one
watch.
of Carrie's calls is not the same as a week of looking into brands.
Even if I went to jewelry stores for a week, like I went to Zales or something, I don't know, and then I was like, all right, Carrie, I'm a master at selling jewelry now. Like 1 week
No,
later,
not a
go grab
master,
it.
but being able, okay, there's a difference in time between, it's the same thing as looking through the bins all day. It's the same thing, except for you don't have to wait for the new bins to come. It's exactly the same. You have to look, pick up each item, go through the process of looking it up, looking at the condition, except for you don't have to wait. If you are doing the bins and they do the rotation, you're just wasting half your day waiting for the rotation to show up. If you know what you're doing, you can just buy bulk, take what you want home. The problem is people buy bulk and two things. They don't know what to buy, but that's what your eBay app is for. And then number two, they don't have the space for it.
What is she using to determine what she should be buying? Is she using eBay solds? Is she using solds in general? Is she using just feel, intuition? Like what's telling her this is a good item? Like what data is she using to come to these conclusions?
So her process is Google it first. So what she's looking for is what websites are selling that item. So she'll Google it first, then go to eBay, see how many are active, how many are sold, look at the sell-through rate, and then she determines whether or not a local shop is going to think it's trendy because it's on whatever website that's local. If it's trendy, she's going to pick it up. And also like I'll tell you that her cost of goods is under $2. I'm not going to tell you what she's paying for the pallets. I'm not going to tell you how many pieces she gets, but it's under $2 and I would consider her intermediate knowledge for brands. Okay, if you went to Nordstrom, REI, Walmart, Target, Kmart in 1 week, you'd have an intermediate or higher knowledge of clothing after 1 week. If you went to Carrie's call or you went to any call, you wouldn't get that much information because you wouldn't see and touch hundreds of brands in an hour. Going to REI is probably the biggest clothing hack. It's biggest clothing hack because you can see what they charge for at retail. You can see the material. You can see what brands are there. Just don't skip any racks. Also, she doesn't skip any clothing. She has to look through every single item. It's just, I don't know. I don't think that it would take longer for a week. If we did a 1 week intense clothing instruction, you would be intermediate after a week.
You think that she could teach like other people clothing brands? Like if you sat down with her and were like, hey, drop some knowledge on us real quick. Teach us 5 brands, 10 brands. Like, do you think she'd be able to do that?
She could teach you how to look it up.
Because she teaches 10 brands. You're saying that she knows brands that are good. Like if you pulled her up and was like, hey, slide us 10 brands.
We should try it. So
okay, let's look up. So when she looks at every item that she's going through, is she looking up sell-through rates and comps?
She is.
For each one?
I can give you a couple of examples. One major brand that she's focusing on is Brandy Melville. It sells okay on eBay, but it's really trendy. And all the consignment shops here, they buy Brandy Melville. That's like a major, and also it's one size fits all, which is like a nice thing for women's clothing because it's complicated. So that's one of her main focuses, and she finds it every time, a good amount of it. I don't think we've ever done a pallet or a bulk amount or one rotation of the bins and not found at least one Brandy Melville. But like Brandy Melville, Nike, if you've been to the mall, you would know some of the brands that pick up. I think, I mean, I would like to tell you, Isaiah, that it takes longer than a week, but I don't think it does.
But only like 2,800 Brandy Melville items have sold, like out of shirts, tops, dresses, etc. Like
Yeah.
out of 15,000. So like that's not necessarily an item which you'd be like let's go get all of this, like fill up a truck of Brandy Melville. It's not. It's
It's
like
not.
maybe there's
There isn't opportunities like that.
yeah.
There are
But
no
like
opportunities like that.
second one, because I know you gotta leave soon. What led to her spending $400 a week despite being so early in the game? Like, did she make the $400 first and then, or is this like just her? Do you just give her a weekly budget of $400 and she can spend it? How did she get to $400 a week, so quickly?
Because she needs 200 items a week, and she's already earning more than that from consignment. So that this is where the dilemma comes from, where she's thinking about how much do I want to consign? That's the dilemma right now.
How many
Because
items is she selling consignment per week? Like, what quantity of items are being sold through consignment per week?
I would say around 80-ish. She's getting about $7 a piece.
So she's been able to reverse the slowdown that she was seeing with the consignment items, and she's able to like show up there with a couple. How many items is she bringing to get them to buy 80?
To buy 8 items, she's bringing about 100. So it's less than 10% approval.
Wait, so wouldn't that mean that she'd have like 1,000 items on hand right now to get 80 sold per week?
No, because she's going to multiple stores with the same inventory and they're taking a certain amount.
But you said
So,
it's 100 to get 8. So she needs
so like
100
if you
items
take
to get
100
80.
items to 10 stores, you're probably I think around she doesn't have more than 200 items. So it's like going to 10 consignment shops. She's getting an average of 8 per store, right? That's where we're at.
I
But
see. So like,
it's
so
not,
store one, she has 100, they buy 8, or let's say they buy 16. And
yeah.
then, and then the next store, maybe they buy 0. The store after that, they buy 8 of that 100.
And
And then
that's why she has to go to 10. And that's why like yesterday, or actually yeah, on Monday she said, I've been to 3, they've already hit the goal. I've already hit the goal. Can I go home now? And I said no, because what if what if the next time you go they don't take any? You can't go home. You have to do 10. Because we're operating on averages here. Sometimes the consignment stores say none, right? And sometimes they take 31 out of 55 items. That's why Brandy Melville is a no-brainer for her, because of the consignment shop. She already has the morel mushroom guy lined up for it.
No, you got to go.
All right, guys. Everybody have a nice